What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants. No, hey, so let me respond to something about Jermall Charlo. Make myself clear again, because you always have to redirect people back to the right path when they don't understand your position. Jermall Charlo is a guy that whoever he fights, I'm pulling for Jermall Charlo to win. Okay, let me say this. Jermall Charlo, as far as I'm concerned, he is diminishing his legacy. He's not helping his legacy and his choice of fights. Basically, Canelo Alvarez is in no rush to fight him at all. And he keeps saying that he wants to fight Canelo, but I gotta fight who's there until I get the fights I want. You're saying fights, not fights. If that's the case, here's the deal. At 160, you don't have any real credible names. Okay, Triple G, 168. Demetrius Andre, 168. What are you left with? Right? And he's getting ready to fight a Demetrius Andre leftover after saying there's no value in fighting Demetrius Andre, but you're going to fight someone that Demetrius already beat. It's not helping his legacy. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it or try to make up things to try to protect them. I saw the shoving match that him and Benavides had, and all of the arguing back and forth. I don't know what happened there. I don't know who did what, so it's not a big deal to me. But for me, when guys go, do all of this FaceTiming and whatever, and then they're back and forth arguing, but there's no actual plans to fight, that's just clout chasing to build their profile. I don't see how Jermall Charlo doesn't understand what he's doing to his own legacy. Yeah, you're the champ at 160, but who's there? Who's there? And for the guys that's there, you can't fight these guys that have no real name, no real credibility, and then even if they're good fighters, but people just don't know who they are, when you could very easily, for a fact that Benavides can't make 160. You know that. He barely makes 168. You could go to 168. You're confident that you can beat Benavides? You say you are. Go beat him. Go beat Caleb Plant. Guess what? You do that, you put yourself in a position of, okay, not only did Canelo beat him, but so did, Jermall Charlo. And Jermall Charlo beat Benavides. Instead of waiting, holding on to that one belt that you've had. You've been holding on to this belt, but you're not, beating Derevyanchenko and all that. And look, I know Jermall Charlo can fight. Jermall Charlo he probably beats Benavides. But until you get in there and do it, I'm definitely not going to talk people's ears off about, oh, he can do this. I don't listen. We want to see the fights. I'm different. I'm built different from all these other guys. I'm not telling you who I want to see. This is not about who I want to see win. It's bottom line, it doesn't matter. We want to see the fight. And if you're not going to fight these guys, it's not even necessary. When people talk, just say, next question. Because when you start talking and you're making these excuses to not fight these guys, why don't you want to go fight this guy? You said you don't want to help Demetrius Andre get paid. He's broke and he's trying to make money. Listen, this is boxing. This is how fighters make money. They fight each other. Simple. You sat there on Mike Tyson's hot boxing. He told you were scared to fight the Mexican monster. Everybody scared and all that, right? Okay. But at the same time, you're not looking at your career. But I told you guys, these guys already become millionaires before they even fight the elite guys. Now, don't get me wrong. Jermall Charlo has some good fights. Has some very entertaining fights. Good. That's the thing about the Charlos. Both of them. But now we're talking about, look, you got these names that's out here that you haven't fought yet. And if you have to go up and wait to do it, then do it, man. Do it. You're only going up 8 pounds. Go beat these guys, shut their mouths. Simple. Now, if you do that, you decide you want to go back to 160 and reclaim your title, then do that. But nobody can take those wins away from you. As long as you're lacing up the boots and the gloves, you always have something to prove. Regardless, you got to put that work in. When you look at your resume and look at who you fought versus who you haven't fought yet, that should motivate you and make you understand I still have work to do. You're 31 now. These guys are wasting time, man. I did a video about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. As far as them fighting, Ennis, Ortiz, and Ben. These guys are already in their 30s. Terrence Crawford is, 33, 34. Errol Spence, I think, 31, 32. They have a fight. It's going to be some months from now. Then more than likely there'll be a rematch clause. So it'll be like a whole year, before, over a year before you get to see Jaron Ennis or any of these guys against either one of them. So, what is the wait for? And the older you are, it's worse on you, because your younger opponent may not even be as skilled as you, but you might get to a point where, hey, you're not the same fighter. And now that younger opponent can defeat you. And, it's always a thing of people saying, I paid my dues. These guys got to pay their dues. We get all of that. But at the same time, man, you guys have to understand, you are not Floyd Mayweather. And when I say that, I'm not saying that to discredit Floyd Mayweather at all, because Floyd put the work in. Floyd did his thing. He became his own boss, and he didn't get paid. Why you think nobody's come close to making $1 billion? Floyd did what he did. Then people blame Floyd. No, it's not a Floyd Mayweather thing. You guys are trying to imitate the flashy lifestyle and want to, show your houses, your mansions, and all of that. But you can't compare your resume to Floyd Mayweather's resume. Floyd put that work in. He put it in and earned the spot to get the kind of money that he was getting. You guys are not even coming close to that, but you want to look flashy, flamboyant, and all of that, but you're not putting that work in, because you're not fighting the elite guys. By the time Floyd Mayweather was 30, he was already champion at 21 years old. So 10 years in, he already was old. He already was a world champion. You guys, are not understanding. You're harming your own legacy. And again, if Charlo fight anybody, I'm pulling for him to win. But there's no excuse. There's no excuse why you shouldn't fight Caleb Plant. Why would they go down to 160? For what? These are legacy fights, man. And if you don't have a mandatory on hand, and you can talk to, the president of these boxing council of the title you hold, hey, listen, I want to go up at 168 and fight, they'll probably work that out for you. There's no reason for you to not do it. No reason for you not to do it. And then to keep saying these guys don't want to fight me, okay, then you make the effort and say, since you're scared to fight me, you won't come to me, I'll come to you. And until you do that. And I'm just being straight up. So for the idiots that's, oh man, why you hating on Charlo? First of all, if I wanted to hate on him, I'd hate on him. And ain't nobody going to do anything about it. You guys sound so childish. Why you know? Idiots. I pull for Charlo to win. I'm just being honest about where he stands and the moves he's making. He's not making the wiser decisions for his career. Now, if he's complacent with where he is and he feels that he's in a good place, so be it. But until he actually gets in there and beat Canelo, beat Benavides, and beat a Caleb Plant, beat a Demetrius Andrade, these are names that you should want on your resume. Imagine right now, when he in his career, if he could end his career saying, I beat Canelo, I beat Demetrius Andrade, I beat Caleb Plant. You understand? I beat all these guys. I beat David Benavides. Do you know what that would do for his career? And these fights are not going to all happen in the same year. They're going to be... So we're talking the timetable. By the time, if he fought all of those guys, by the time he get from one to the next, because more than likely they wouldn't be back-to-back fights against all of them. We're talking this guy may be 35, 36 by then. Time doesn't stand still for anyone. So I wanted to address that and make myself crystal clear. Because like I said, I could care less about people thinking I'm hating on someone. What do I gain from hating on anyone? Just being 100% real with what I see. And pretty much, if you're going to fight a guy, build up to the fight and make it happen. If you're not going to fight a guy, there's no need to even talk about them. Because yes, at that point, you're clout chasing. That's why I respect when people would bring up, Floyd is fighting the guy, and they'll, well, I know you're fighting such and such tonight, but, what we all want to know is there a chance you're going to fight, Manny Pacquiao? And all of a sudden, this is at a press conference, like an interview leading up to a fight that he's about to have. And Floyd, we're not going to talk about Manny Pacquiao. Right now, I got such and such in front of me, and that's what I'm focused on. I'm not here to talk about Manny Pacquiao. When we negotiate to fight Manny Pacquiao, then we'll talk about Manny Pacquiao. That's how you handle that. Not sit up here and keep talking and going along and entertaining that conversation, but there's no steps being made to make that fight happen. So yeah, it's on Jermall Charlo. You know, Jermall Charlo decided he wants to go to 168 and fight, and then all of a sudden Benavides calls it off, or Caleb calls it, okay then, well. But until then, no. No, these guys are not going to come down and weight. They're bigger than that weight class. They're not going to come down to 160. So, it is what it is. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.